Greetings, it's Ian from RTO here. Welcome to Battle Royale, Round 1, Tie 3. Starting to get into the flow of this, and can I just say thank you for everybody that's been voting for these albums. We've noticed a huge up of people watching these and taking part, so thank you very much for all of you that are voting and supporting our candidates or our entries. Today we have got two really good albums. One comes from Turnip's Return. Now he's been a subscriber for quite a long time, and he has put in the Clash's Sandinista, and he's going up against a regular on the live stream all the way from Japan. It's ricefieldrecords, or as we know him as Michael, and he has put Genesis, this is Foxtrot. So Turnip's Return came out of the box first, or the spinning of the wheel. Remember the cock up. So it's the Clash. Now the Clash are a rock band, punk band, formed in 1976, and they also contributed to the post-punk and new wave genres. Most of the time, recording thing was rhythm and guitarist and vocalist Joe Strummer, vocalist Mick Jones, bassist Paul Simeon, and Nicky Topper Headon on the drums. So, the album that Turnip's Return would like to put forward was Sandinista. Now this was the fourth album, and it came out as a triple album in December 1980. Now when I ranked the Clash, this was my number 5. So our performers on this album are Joe Strummer, lead and backing vocals, guitars and keyboards, Mick Jones on the guitar and keyboards, lead and backing vocals, Paul Simeon on bass guitar, backing vocals, and he does lead vocals on the Crooked Beat, and Topper Headon on the drums and lead vocals on Ivan Meets G.I. Joe, and the backing vocals on The Sounds of Sinners. So the first track on this triple album, there's 6 tracks on each side, so it's the Magnificent 7. Now this track has got a great bass line and some delicate guitar work, which you don't expect from the Clash. So you've got this really good bass line from Paul. It's a really good track. Hitsville UK comes next. I like the track. It's got a nice melody with a nice little piece of keyboard, but I think the vocal is just a little bit hollow in places. I don't understand why, but it is. But don't let that put you off the track. It's really good. Then we get Yunko Partner. Now this is sort of reggae meets punk, and it just didn't work. I think it's one of these tracks, when you're going to have a triple album, I think this is one of them tracks that should have really been here. That's just my opinion, of course. Don't, whatever I say, don't take part your judging. It's your decisions. Then we get this Ivan Meets G.I. Joe. Topper should just stick to his drumming, I think. That's all I'll say about that. Then we get this short little punky song called The Leader. I like it. It's very rock and rolly. It's got some nice guitar on it. It's a pretty solid track. Then we get a thing called Something About England. I know this is one of my favourite tracks off this album, I must admit. Okay, the lyric content may offend people, but this is a song written in the day, and if you weren't there, you wouldn't understand it. But yeah, it's a bit of a protest song, but it's one of my favourite songs on here. Then we get the Rebel Waltz. I like this. I like it sounds a bit classical at the beginning, done on a guitar. Probably one of the nicest tracks on the album, actually, the way it's done. Really good. Look Here comes next. It's quite a interesting track. How can I put this? Now, when I reviewed, did the ranking, I called this a dirge. I don't particularly like the track, but I listened to it again, and I've got to, you can see where they were coming from. Then we get the crooked beat. This is the one I think Paul sings, I do believe. Yes, he wrote it and he sang it. He's not got a bad voice. It's got a great bass line from him. It's really good. And Topper's drumming's great on this. I must admit, I do like. Then we get Somebody Got Murdered. Got a good beat to this one. Real proper Clash sound. Good little track. One More Time. Again, it's just good old-fashioned rock and roll punk, post-punk sound. I really like that. One More Dub version of One More Time. An instrumental, filler, absolute filler on here. Then we get Lightning Strikes, not once but twice. A little bit disjointed this, but each bit of the disjoint on its own deserves merit because it's very clever. I just don't like the way that it was put together personally. Up in Heaven, Not Only Here. This is pretty good. Very good old-fashioned punk song. Lots of jumping around and spitting about on that one. Corner Soul. It's just a bit of a filler for me again. This is just personally, I know there must be people out there that love this song, but for me personally, it's just a bit of a filler track. Let's Go Crazy. Solid enough track. It's got some good little guitar bits on that. If Music Could Talk. This reminds me, it's a bit poppy. Very radio friendly. It reminds me a little bit of Joe Jackson, this song. And I quite like that one. The Sound of the Sinners. This is a bit of rock and roll and punk all mixed together. It's okay. Not too bad. Then we get Police on My Back. Eddie Grant number. When he was with the Equals. And I love this. I love the cover version of this. It's a great track anyway, and I think the Clash do a fantastic job of that. I like that. Midnight Love, really like this song. It's just good old-fashioned rock and roll-y sort of thing. The Equalizer comes along, reminds me of the band The Police, doing that sound, that post-punk sound, that new wave sound. Really strong track that is. The Call Up, great song. Really like this. Joe Strummer's vocals are super on this. Washington Bullets. Yeah, not my favourite track. It's alright. There's nothing bad about it. It's just something I'm not very keen on. Broadway, it features an epilogue of the Six Guns of Brixton, sung by Maria Gallagher. Yeah, it's alright. Lose the Skin. Bit of a filler track for me. Just all over the place. Then we get Mansfield Hill, which is something about England backwards with overdubs. I think this is again a pointless track. Awful overdubs. Don't like it. I haven't heard anyone say anything good about that track ever. When you talk about this album, Junkie Ship. Again, it's all over the thing. Kingston Advice. There's too much going on. It's very hard to comprehend that one. The Street Parade is next. It's a very good track. Does what it says on the tin, really. Version City. This is, we're getting into the filler stuff. It's just... doesn't go anywhere. It seems to be going round in circles. Living in Fame. It's a dub version of If Music Could Talk. No, I just don't like these dub versions. I don't know what they were thinking at the time. I really don't. Then we get Silicon on Sapphire, which is a dub version of Washington Bullets. Washington Bullets is not the best track on the album, and this is just pointless filler. It's no good. Version Partner, which is Yunko Partner, overdubs to get dub version. Nah. Career Opportunities. It's a re-recorded song, but as credited by Luke Gallagher and Ben Gallagher. Just Terrible Kids Singing Pump doesn't work. Shepherd's Delight, dub version of Police and Thieves. What a waste of vinyl and electricity. Okay, very ambitious album to put out a three album, 3-disc album, 3-album LP album. There's a lot, especially on that last side. It didn't need it. If you took all the overdubs out and the dub versions, it would have been a better album. I think this. I've always said this would have been a better double album instead of a triple album, because I like that. I mean, the songs that I do like on here are absolutely killer songs, but it's a long album and it's got a lot of filler on. That's just my opinion, but if you want to go and listen to it, each album's got its own short, so go and find them on the shorts, and you will be able to go and give it a listen yourself. Okay then, let's move on to Michael's choice of album, and he went for Genesis's Foxtrot. Of course, Genesis formed at the Charterhouse School in 1967 by Michael Rutherford, Peter Gabriel and Tony Banks, Anthony Phillips. And it was Jonathan King that sort of got them going. But then poor old Anthony got this stage thing that he was very ill, so he had to leave. The drummer left as well, so that mean they had to get a new drummer and guitarist, and they found Phil Collins and Steve Hackett, and the rest is history, really. So the album that, of course, Michael chose was Foxtrot, which was their fourth album, and it came out in 1972. Well, this is my second favourite album by Genesis. Always will be. Okay, this opens up with one of the best openings using a mellotron. It's the brilliant Water of the Skies. I love this track. It's just that build up. You get that on Mike's bass and Tony's great mellotron. Very, very good track. Still, Steve Hackett still plays it today, and it still sounds as good as ever. There's a stonking opening track to an album. Then we go into some of the tracks one of the tracks on this album that always seems to get shoved out the way because of other songs, and that's Timetable. This is one of the mellower tracks. It shows off Steve Hackett's wonderful guitar playing. And I love this track. You know, it's just one of those tracks that always gets forgotten about, but it's really good. Okay, the next track is a classic from this album. It's Get 'Em Out by Friday. A great little tale. I think about a landlord trying to chuck people out, I think. It's got some great guitar work. It's a fine vocal from Peter Gabriel. It's a great arrangement. It's some nice drumming as well. I do like that track. It's just a cool track. Okay, up next. And the last track on side one. Can Utility and the Coastliners. Again, which featured lots and lots of mellotron. Some great drumming here for Mr. Collins. Still one of the best prog drummers this country has ever produced. Very good drummer all round. He seems to drum to any. In his day, he could drum to anything. I love this. It's got some really nice guitar work from Steve Hackett again. Super little track. What more can you say about it? You know, it's just a great track. So we flip it over. And this first track on side 2 is this little instrumental by Steve Hackett called Horizons. Beautiful. He still plays it today. He's even plays this when he's done them classical live concerts that he's done. And it's all his classical guitar. He always plays this. It's just wonderful, and it sort of opens up ready for, as everyone knows, one of my favourite tracks ever, The Brilliant Supper's Ready. Now, this comes in 7 parts, sorry. About 7 parts, yes. So we got all. I'm going to go through each little part. I'm sure you all know this if you're into your Genesis. So the first bit is Lover's Leap. I love this. You've got some lovely guitar on this. You know, the walking across the sitting room. It's just absolutely brilliant. If you put in YouTube, there's a thing, you just put Supper's Ready story, a black and white storyline, something like that. It comes up with this little thing that someone's put together. It's fantastic. Anyway, I'm going off topic. I love this. It's just some lovely guitar work here from Steve Hackett. Wonderful. Then we go into the Guaranteed Eternal Sanctuary Man. The bit that people don't know the title. It's the bit where it's got a more lovely acoustic guitar, some really great backing vocal from Phil, super piano work from Tony, and Peter Gabriel sings this great. Now, when there was a bit of controversy last week that when me and Richard did that thing about songs sound better live, I'm going to just do a little bit. Supper's Ready in the studio belongs to Peter Gabriel, but I think Phil Collins delivered it better live. Phil Collins was a better storyteller, but that's cleared that little bit up. But I love that little bit. It's not very long, but it's really good. Then we get into the Incantaten Ixicung and their Band of Merry Men. This sort of gets a bit of flute here from Peter, and it goes back into the Lover's Leap sort of sound. I think this is quite good. I love it where the drum sort of builds, the drum's starting to build up now into this track from Phil. It's very gentle, but it's starting to get the memento ready for what's to come. Then we have the How Dare I Be So Beautiful. I always call this the calm before the storm. You get that wandering little keyboard piece from Tony, and you get this wonderful sultry vocal from Peter Gabriel, and it ends up with that when a narcissus turns to a flower, and you get a flower. Then we get the best bit of this song, Willow Farm. Absolutely brilliant. The guitar work is great, drives the song along. This is sort of the highlight of this song. Some lovely lyrics from Peter Gabriel. It's just one of those tracks, isn't it? And then you get that bit in the middle and go, I'll change. Then it's mum-ty tiddly washing and all that. And then towards the end of Willow Farm, you go back into that it's a ploddy sort of like the beginning, but more of a ploddy thing. It's absolutely brilliant. My favourite piece of that thing. And then we go into the Apocalypse in 9/8, co-starring the delicious talents of Gabble Ratchet. That's its full title. It goes back a little bit of the flutes from Peter, Steve Hackett's guitars, and it's sort of this is the bit that brings this song to its peak. It's one of the longest bits. It's a dramatic piece. Of course, I think this is where Marillion got their idea for Grendel. This bit is that bit of Grendel as well. It just builds up and builds up, and it's a great vocal from Peter Gabriel. I just love this section as well. And then we have the last bit, which is sure as eggs is eggs, aching men's feet. You get a little bit of a tubular bell, you get some flute, and it returns to Lover's Leap in a different sort of form. And then, like most great folk songs, it just fades away. I love the drumming in this from Phil at the end. It is fantastic. And then it finishes. You know I love this album. I'm not going to keep telling you how much I love this album. But it's an important album. It influenced a lot of people. And it's just a great album. That's all I'll say. Okay. Now it's Andy. I'm handing this over to you. You know how to vote. The community poll goes up round about 2 o'clock this afternoon. There'll also be a poll in the live stream tonight. The poll is closed at midnight. I don't close it. It's Dave that does the closing. He shuts it down at midnight on the Wednesday. And he does remind you, though. You just put little bits in. So you've got... And the only place you can vote is in the community or on the live stream tonight. Reason being, not in the comments below on this, it's so we get a fair whip and we don't miss anything. That's the only two we take votes on. So if you can put, oh, this is a great album, but if you want to vote, go and do it either in the community or pop in, even if you just pop into the live stream tonight and cast your vote. I know Michael will be up tonight to give the Foxtrot a bit of a boost. He said he would. So that's all for this one. So this one's going to be an interesting one. And we've had some interesting... We had a shock result the first week. And I will tell you who won last week's battle tonight. Looking forward to that. So that's all for this one. What have we got for you next week? Well, we have got, I do believe, we've got Richard, my good friend Richard McCook's Bridge Over Troubled Water, and Status Quo's Rocking All Over the World from the Dark Lord, who's a sort of new subscriber, who's says some nice things. And there we go. That's next week's. So go and have a listen. As I said, all the entries are in as shorts, in the shorts section of the channel. So you can go and have a quick listen to them. Just to remind you of the songs. Okay, I'll be back later. We've got Pick and Mix today. And we're going to have a wander down the sidewalk. And we're going to look at the top 10 singles from the 19th of October, 1963. So we'll see you for that later. Bye for now.